We got a lot of exciting lore! I'm sorry, I'm really excited. There's like so much I have found recently that I want to share with you guys. I don't know where I want to start. Because I have 432 lore. I have Stanley's co-workers lore. I have lore between the narrator and Stanley. Their whole relationship dynamic and including the player character. But I think I'm going to start off with this. Did you guys know that the crazy ending is not actually called the crazy ending? It's in fact called the dream ending. I found this out because last night, me and this wonderful human being, again, System Cyber, they have access to the game files and have helped me tremendously through my insanity. But last night, System Cyber had informed me that this game has a checkbox list. More importantly, a list telling you what endings you have completed. And on this list is where we found the dream ending. But while further looking through this list, System had realized there are 4 escape pod endings. Meanwhile, all the other endings normally have 2, either with the bucket variant or just by itself. Now, of course, what's odd is that the 2 at the bottom have text overlays that we managed to decipher last night, which ended up being replacement and the ending of bucket. So bucket and replacement bucket. Later on, we found out these were for the epilogue, so not too much, but still bizarre. But it got me thinking a lot about the escape pod ending and 432, because clearly the escape pod ending was supposed to have the narrator involved. Just reading it says the narrator has to be present, but in the game, that doesn't happen. It's broken. It makes me wonder that somebody physically has trapped us here on purpose, or at least maybe they tried to trap someone else. Now, looking through 432's papers, there are eerily a lot of similarities to the main game. Some prime examples being, when things hit the fan, is to destroy the game, which is what narrator has done on multiple occasions. This here talks about a lockdown. Makes me think of the boss's office. Not to mention it talks about loops. Loops, you say? Another example being in this where it talks about an escape door opening, which we actually get to see during the countdown ending. What made me wonder, was 432 in the exact same position with the narrator before Stanley? I think he was. In fact, narrator had multiple people before Stanley, and there is a lot of proof to back this up. In the menu audio, we get an employee talking about how he's endlessly working on the back ending. And then we even get another employee talking about the boss's keypad.
What is that keypad for? No. And so I went up to it, and it wasn't in. And I thought for a second about typing in some numbers into the keypad.
Another evidence are these 3 employees, because in this image they have a secret message saying, "Please find us, Stanley." So it really starts to make me wonder. Going back to 432, I noticed a strange similarity between Stanley and 432. You see, think about it this way. 432's job was to sharpen pencils constantly. Stanley's job was to push buttons constantly. 432 stopped getting orders of pencils. Stanley stopped getting orders to press buttons. Get this. Both of them have a Stanley model, but one is see-through. See-through. Narrator can't see him. Or else have we seen... Oh, no. Don't tell me. Oh, no. Bro unplugged the phone. There's even more evidence to this. In this nice game file, we see this lovely drawing by 432. But in-game, it's next to this written page that kind of looks like it's in his handwriting. It talks about stars, and it starts asking questions of, why are we here? And the only other time we see, besides this ending with star, is the presentation slideshow from the unplugging the phone ending.
And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant.
I already know what a lot of you are thinking. 432's the way he is because of psychological torment. You see, that's true. Psychological torment is what led him here. The game creator even confirms this.
On realized, oh my god, what if Employee 432 has been driven so psychologically mad that they become the fabric of the universe, setting things for you, and is like evaporated from off of the plane.
Which is very interesting, considering looking at these notes from Stanley, which we know belongs to Stanley considering it says 427, and a bunch of very specific things throughout the game. It looks like this man has gone through some psychological torment as well, which, again, when the creator says he transcended, makes me believe that he ended up where we end up after we unplug the phone. Which would make sense for why 432 knows who the narrator is if he was in our shoes, and seems to understand what's going on. And not to mention why they are a see-through Stanley. And there's more evidence that he's been watching us this entire time through voice lines. You guys remember that 432 little video I did with his voice lines? Yeah, I found more proof to those actually being real. Now, of course, when he's asking for the bathroom, I compared it to this file where he asks stupid questions, but there's an entire protocol of what they're supposed to do if he tries to leave, and it matches up perfectly. And then he mentions the rat. Why the rat of all things? And then I thought about him being a literal lab rat. He was experimented on. He was the test subject. He was, in fact, the rat. Which is why we see the rat in so many different locations. He is literally the rat in the walls. He's in the walls. And clearly he wants to help Stanley, given from this line and the fact that he's trying to make it more tolerable for us, considering nobody was really ever there for them. Big respects to 432, everybody. Big respects. One of the last things I really want to talk about is why are they both Stanleys? I mean, why is that guy there a Stanley? Why is in this crowd there Stanleys and Mariellas? Well, what if everybody in the office was a Stanley or even a Mariella? Think about it. All the employees going by numbers and not names except for a very select few. Nobody in this game besides the narrator calls Stanley Stanley. 432 refers to us as you. Creator refers to us as you. I think Stanley was built by the narrator, Mariella too, to be testing vessels. Think about it this way. We need to keep the wheel turning. We're all cogs of the machine. It all fits in very well to be molded to be the exact same. Even with this one employee talking about having to constantly do reports.
I thought the reports could be a lot better. I thought the reports would make sense.
They even refer to an employee not fitting their system either.
I just don't think most people like this.
But now I want to talk about A-Man. Because I already know why he's so different. But the reason why I think A-Man is not a Stanley is because he was not created by the narrator. He could have originally been a Stanley, but since he has more ties with the entity Gamharata, it would make more sense that he would be completely different than the narrator's vision. But it makes so much sense why narrator is freaking out in the real person ending, because he knows he cannot restart the game without the player. That is why the creator says Stanley was already dead, because Stanley does not have a soul. Stanley is just a body. This very much gives me Chris from Deltarune and their soul dynamic. That's why in sometimes we can see Stanley moving around and then other times completely still. And it's the exact same for A-Man. We see him moving here, but he's completely still there. And we already know who the next victim for narrator's game would have been, which would have been Mariella. But we see from her lack of movement, she does not have a soul. She does not have a human ready for the game, meaning she's just a lifeless statue. And we know this game has gone on for way too long, given narrator's little voice line in the museum outtakes.
Stanley, where are you right now? Where am I? I'm trying to figure out, but I can't. Stanley, who am I? Can you speak to me? Please talk. Have we done this before? Have we been in this room before? How many times have we done this? How many times have I said these exact words? Say something. Anything. Help me, Stanley. I don't know who or what I... Stanley, help.
It's the kind of thing you...
Which is on par to him glitching out at the end of the cassette tape.
People aren't talking enough about that, actually. I'm not joking. This is actually a really... Actually, just let me adjust this. Okay. I think I'm probably about to shoot myself in the foot here by saying this, but I'm not the only one who... You good? No one cares. No one listens.
There's even more proof to this when you go through the entire sequel show again with the bucket. He's like, wait, we've done this before? Wait, no, we haven't. And it's on par to him also not wanting to be reset in the confusion ending.
Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this.
Which means Stanley has remembered every single reset he's been through, but the narrator has not. Which makes me a little suspicious considering when we go into the tape room without the bucket, he's like, it turns out I'm just a recording? Well, now I'm sad. But it doesn't really prove that he's not. Plus, there's the phone call that says,
Hello, this is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant...
Now, it could be on par to the phone being a recorded message, but it could also easily point to the narrator. Plus, in the real person ending, if you go the wrong way, he makes a really weird noise right before he comes back. And that noise he makes almost mirrors when he was messing with Stanley.
All right, now,
about
I
his
want you
wife.
to come in and tell me all about your
Hell, we could even talk about the slow, distorted screaming of Stanley, where are you? I think he is an automated system made to test the employees, thinking every single one of them is Stanley or Mariella, depending on if you're more feminine or masculine. If you're non-binary, I don't know, you can be the bucket. But with that information, it would explain perfectly why there are so many offices laid out the exact same. It's for all the different employees. Because that number up there does not match the numbers down there. Well, what do you guys think about all this? Because honestly, I'm blown away if this is true. This is also a little bit on par with an old theory called narrator has multiple Stanleys, but maybe they were onto something back then, I don't know.